Go ahead and share again.
Yeah. So I got to, I don't know what, but I got to a point where I was depressed because it started to make me question and doubt everything I thought I knew. I put a sense of my own, is silly in retrospect, but I put a sense of like my own self worth and identity was found in being the, understand, no, being the fitness guy. I owned a gym. I knew I didn't, couldn't do anything, couldn't trying to. So what right did I have to talk to anybody about it? And I got to a point where I said, I don't know what to do. And that's when I reached out to you. I had read a little bit about the leaky gut thing, and I saw some of the stuff you had posted, and I just asked. And then I remember we had a conversation, and it was as simple as just, hey, take some of this stuff out of your diet and eat some of this stuff and just see how you feel. And within literal days, I felt physically different. I had more energy. I felt like my head was clear. I lost a few pounds. I was like, what? Okay, this is something. And then that led me to say, okay, I'm in. Like, I've done everything I can do. Like, what do I really need to do? Because I've got to make a change. And then, the results, the 25 pounds and
Take a
I
look
dropped my
one more time,
cholesterol
guys.
150. Yeah. I dropped my cholesterol 150 points, lost 25 pounds. This was right before my 41st birthday. So I'm 41 now. And the foggy head was gone. Joint pain that I didn't even realize I was living with is gone. Like I literally would do this every day because my fingers hurt. That's gone. I recovered. My muscles feel better. My workouts are better. My general mood is better. Quite literally every aspect of my life improved. And then the other side of this that people don't realize is how much of an influence your physical well-being the toll that it takes when you're not living the way we should and taking proper care of your body, and the toll that takes on you mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. And for me, it those areas of my life and even my ability to be the husband and father I'm supposed to be was suffering because of how I felt about myself. So getting a handle on that and healing my body from the inside out healed me across the board. I mean, to say it sounds cliche and cheesy, but it made me a better husband and a better father. I don't want to say just like a better person.
It's so true. And that ties into what we were talking about yesterday, the vision. How do I choose to live? How am I committed to live? How am I committed to show up to my spouse, to my kids, in my work environment? So that's so good. So you guys have an understanding. This is where the calorie counting and the macros counting doesn't matter. So I'm going to give you two examples. You guys keep writing in the comments the different programs that you've tried. I see Weight Watchers here, calorie counting, and keto. I appreciate you guys putting out South Beach, some good ones. Ooh, I like South Beach. So it's if Eric puts me on macros, okay, Esteban, you got to hit 140 grams of protein. What happens if I have a day where I'm just sitting in the office and I'm not burning any calories versus a day that I'm burning like 5,000 calories? Do I change it? So is it percentage or is it grams? Because it's per my weight. So confusing. Like one team is saying one thing, the other team is saying another. And what we're saying is it starts with the gut. So certain foods, and I've got a small list that are very popular kryptonite foods in the secret link. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Artificial sweeteners are big. The protein that are in plants. Gluten is a popular one. There's a binding in your stomach, in your gut lining, and it opens up. So visualize a mosquito screen. It keeps the mosquitoes and bugs out. So I can open up my windows. I've got my screen there, and the bugs can't get in. Leaky gut is where it permeates. So the gaps get bigger. So now instead of those super tiny, tight meshes that's keeping the bugs out, I'm looking out my window. It's bigger squares so the bugs can come in. So what's happening is we're getting bacteria, we're getting toxins, we're getting food particles, we're getting waste that goes into your bloodstream, and it creates inflammation. You can see it on Eric's face there. You see it on kids nowadays. You see it on their faces, you see it in their hands. They look poofy. There's a difference between inflamed and fat. Increased inflammation, yes, it hurts the joints. It creates foggy brain. And it tells your body to produce and increase fat. So inflammation is the main thing to stop, to get rid of. So we get to heal the gut. Stop the kryptonite foods. Oh, that was a previous page. Stop the kryptonite foods because that's what's causing the inflammation. Heal the gut. Everything else falls into place. The next step, so that's first thing for you to do. Identify the kryptonite, eliminate the kryptonite. Now, is that to say you're never going to have kryptonite? Probably not. However, if I have kryptonite every day, and this is where many of us can look back and say, man, a couple of years ago, my body wasn't like this. I was tight. I was toned. I swear. And I'm not eating anything different. It's because over the years, we've done more and more damage. I would wake up, I still do, I wake up early in the morning, and I remember as a trainer, I would drive through the fast food restaurant close to the gym. I'm not going to share what I had. You can put all the judgment on, but I would get it every morning. And here I was with a six-pack. I was in my 20s, so I didn't live as long as I am now, 20 plus years later, doing extra years worth of damage in my gut lining. So one of the things that Eric and I have both shared with each other is when you first got into this, Eric, if you remember, like you'd have kryptonite and you'd put on 4.5 pounds by the following day.
Oh,
Where
gosh,
now,
overnight. Yep.
the same kryptonite, it's only about 1 pound of inflammation because his gut lining is stronger. So that's going to be the big thing for you guys. Healing the gut, healing the gut, healing the gut. In the homework, I'm going to go more in detail into that. Next is a whole food sequence. Definitely jump in when you feel it could be supportive, Eric. First one's going to be the meal timing. This is where fasting, if you're fasting from kryptonite, it's beneficial. If you're fasting from nutrients to your body, that's moronic. With love. So I'm waking up in the morning. I'm going to say 6 a.m. And I move, so my body needs nutrients. If I don't eat, my body literally is breaking down the muscle tissue to survive. Watch this. Let's see if you remember this. The carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, that is a protein molecule. If my body doesn't have the stored energy, whether I am in a ketonic state, using fat as energy, or using glycogen as energy, the body breaks down muscle tissue. So going into a fasted state, working out in the morning is moronic. Your body breaks down muscle tissue, throws away the nitrogen, and gives glycogen to the body to survive. So you're actually slowing down your metabolism by skipping a meal, by skipping nutrient to your body, and adding extra stress to it. I'm doing cardio, I'm doing resistance training. That's extra stress. So when that's happening to somebody, that's that person in the treadmill that smells like ammonia, that smells like nasty locker room. Their breath stinks. Their sweat stinks. They've typically fasted. 9 o'clock, I'm going to have bagel from work. Yay. I'm not recommending that. Within every 34 hours is what you're going to want to consume, because the hormone levels, hunger hormones, insulin, stay regulated for up to 3 to 4 hours. What happens if the body doesn't have the nutrients? Then it sends an insulin signal. spikes it up, and it's telling your body, it makes your body hungry because the insulin wants to take the sugars from the foods and store it into the cells in the liver for energy. Certain foods, kryptonites, outside of creating leaky gut, also make us resistant to the insulin signal. That's what's called insulin resistant. So it increases my appetite, makes me tired, makes me sluggish. Serotonin could go down. One thing that increases that is carbohydrates. Artificial sweeteners are 2 to 1,000 plus times sweeter than natural sugars. So no duh that a Diet Coke tastes better than anything else you're going to eat. Because your survival signals want something that's trace minerals, salt, sweet for quick energy. So when we're eating the kryptonite, our hormone levels are thrown off. Our sugar levels are thrown off. I could do this for hours. So part of the whole food sequence is at meal timing. Ideally, especially when you're looking for that transformation, within 30 minutes of when you wake up, you're going to consume nutrients. That's a key thing, nutrients, not calories, nutrients, and fuel your body throughout the day until right before sleep. This is where it does make sense to have close to a fasted stomach so your body goes into repair and recovery when you're sleeping. I'm going to do this for hours. So, Eric, share some of your experience with this.
No, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's so funny because those of you that are tuned in, it's such valuable information. I can't even tell you. Like, even though I've heard Esteban say this a few times, and I still, every time I hear it, I'm like just trying to absorb it all to beat it in because so to go on a couple things you said, the inflammation piece, right? Like I'll share a personal experience from recent time. So, I had the transformation and everything was great and everything's been going great. And then life happens, right? So we went on a family ski trip and then my wife and I had to go out of the country or got to go out of the country for a wedding in Mexico.
Awesome.
And then we had my birthday, my kids' birthdays, and our anniversary within like 3 weeks of each other. And then we just went to Atlanta for the weekend, caught a baseball game. And I mean, just enjoyed different foods and just kind of like and the amazing, it's crazy because it was such a good reminder to me that, this isn't a fad. This isn't a, something you can just do for a little while and you're like, oh, I healed my gut, everything's great. Like there's so much more to it than that. And it's not that I had to reset, but I had to reset my mind and then get my body back in line. So like I, went back on the protocols and I'm like, okay, let me get my Lucky 13. Let me get the nutrients in that's going to heal my stomach. I do the green juice every morning, like religiously. But it's like, let me consume the things and my body here. We went to Atlanta last weekend. So I'm like 10 days in, back 8 days. And I feel better than I did last week. Physically, I just feel better. Energy's been good. It's healing the gut, like you said, and then the proper nutrients at the right time. So I couldn't tell you the last time I counted a calorie because now I know, from a nutrient standpoint, am I consuming proper nutrients at the right times in a good balance, and around my workouts. Like I time it around when I wake up in the morning and when I'm going to work out. Those are my two indicators. And it's spot on. I mean, it really, and it's encouragement to anybody too, because you're going to slip and fall. You're going to have those moments. Like I won't even want to tell you what I ate when we were in Atlanta and it's life. Right. And then you get back and you're like, okay, like, I did that. I'm going to atone for it. I'm going to get up and it wasn't, I'm going to go to the gym 2 times a day for 2 weeks. That's not what it is. It's like, just get back on track. Just get, heal the gut, proper nutrition, exercise.
If I'm driving from Ohio to come visit you in Florida and I pull off the interstate, just get back on. So if you're off track, the GPS will tell you that. This is why you track it. So last night's homework was for you to track your progress. If you're not on track for your ideal high energetic physical body, get back on track. That's it. There's no, I've got to work out 20 hours in a day. No. I've got to starve myself. That's the one thing, You'll never hear from us. It's not about starvation. Starvation could make the scale smaller. Same with cutting off your legs. So it's about adding life to you. It's to increase your energy. It's to increase the quality of sleep, your mental fortitude. Eric, like you shared, your ability to show up at a higher level as a husband, as a father, at your workspace. So it's not about cutting back, guys. To go into, Eric, what you just said, if I'm hungry, so it's, guys, what's triggering that? Many of you guys may be watching right now and you're like, well, how many calories do I eat? Love you. It's going to be the nutrients. What are the nutrients that I intake? So that's one of the things that I don't think I coach Eric. I don't think I've ever had you count calories, have I?
No. Well, not this go round. I mean, back in the day.
20 years ago, yeah. Yeah, and take a look. This is not counting calories.
Not a one.
So, if I'm hungry, what's triggering it? It's typically I'm lacking nutrients. So what nutrients does my body, does it require right now? My meal timing is off. So once again, lacking nutrients. So it's either from my food choices, so I don't have the proper nutrients that fuel me at the level that I want to perform. Not having the proper timing to keep it fueled throughout is another one. It could be an emotional trigger. If I'm stressing out, anxiety and stress go up, cortisol goes up, that's going to trigger fight, flight, freeze, and also a high cravings for the sugars, for the carbohydrates. That releases the serotonin. And also from a survival standpoint, it gives me that quick energy to fight or flight whatever bear monster is attacking me. Is it a mindset? Is it a habit? Eric and I, every time we get together, we drink 2 beers, eat a bag of chips, cheese dip, then we go out for ice cream. So every time I see him, it triggers. Is it a person that's triggering something? Is it a place? If I sit on the left side of the couch, that's where I'm always eating the cereal with my wife. So what happens if I sit on the right side? It's not triggered. So there's a couple of things that trigger hunger. Am I dehydrated? So part of the homework is identifying, okay, what's triggering this feeling right now? And what's my body genuinely need? If the cortisol's up, how about working out? How about screaming? How about running? How about fighting? That's a whole separate topic I'm going to go to about spouses arguing with each other because of the physical body's in the survival state. So you're arguing and fighting all the time. It's like, holy crap, I'm tired and fighting. You're in a survival state. We get to shift that. What else do you want to share?
You talk about the mindset and how important that is, and it is, and it's, and understanding, like, and if I could say this to people that are new to this experience, and it's okay if you're questioning it. Like, if you're like, this goes against everything that I've ever heard or read. I understand that. As Esteban mentioned, I dedicated my life from the time I was 18 years old to learning everything I could about nutrition, the body, fitness, and I took pride, if you will, in my education. I wasn't one of those trainers that just wanted to like look good. I wanted to be the smartest guy in the room. That was always my goal. When I walked into a gym, I wanted to be the smartest guy there.
Yep.
So understand when I tell you that, like, this went against everything my brain thought it knew. And my wife is in phenomenal shape. Also, she's a trainer still, and she went through this also, and it messed with her mind. She was like, "Well, I mean, the calorie, is this the right amount of calories?" And I'm like, just don't think like that. I'm like, give me 1 week, just don't think like that. And it transformed her in 7 days. And she was already, everybody that saw her, they're like, wait a minute, you're already in great shape. But the proof is in the pudding, as they say. But it had to, and I've been in the protocols for 7 months now, and she's been there for 5 months, and we still have to remind each other, like, wait a second, it's not about the calories. It's like, so it's okay if you get a little frustrated. It's okay if it doesn't quite make sense. I get that, but it's one of those you have to trust the process, right? I guarantee you've tried all that other stuff before, and it's gotten you where you're still here now looking for answers, and that was me. It's okay, but that's what this guy's here for. He's got the answers. So
Yeah.
listen, just listen.
So in the 5-day challenge, here we're going over the strategy. It's not calorie counting. It's not macro counting. So we're letting you know up front what it is not. So it's not the popular things out there. It is identifying the kryptonite. It is healing the gut. It is fueling your body and the muscle tissue to increase the metabolism so you reduce the inflammation and you burn the fat. That's going to be in the homework. The secret link will go out tonight. I like that. Secret link. Shh. Secret link will go out tonight. You're going to have access to multiple menu templates, and I'll show you the kryptonites to avoid. Do you have to do it forever? You do it till whenever you want. I'm not your mama. You get to do whatever you want. So if you decide that you want to put a kryptonite in, if it's not kryptonite for you, it's not kryptonite for you. That's how easy that is. If your body's letting you know it's creating the inflammation, foggy brain, joints are hurting, weight is going up, psst, it's kryptonite. So at that point, once again, you make a choice. That's it. It's that simple. And I want to give an invitation. I'm going to put a link in your email later on tonight. 21-day jumpstart begins next Monday. Not a weight loss claim. The average person that participates, not that watches other people do it, but physically do it, the average person that participates drops 14 pounds in 21 days. That's a combination of, yes, fat, yes, inflammation. Inflammation is the root to all the nastiness, all the ickiness that we don't like the way it looks, that we don't like the way it feels. That's a main thing. So inflammation, fat, waste, that's poop. Toxins, a combination of it all. And I'll finish with this. Inflammation and excess fat is a sign of a sick body. A sick body goes into survival state. When you openly know that you're sick, we're whiny, we're tired, we're exhausted, we're complaining, we're in survival state. So many of us, especially post a pandemic, we doubled our obesity rate. The numbers of obese individuals in this country doubled during the pandemic. A time where we were looking to be safe, increase our immune system, we actually got sicker. We created ourselves to be sicker. And there's a higher probability of having the COVID and anything else that could attack our body. So inflammation and fat is a sign of a sick body. Leaving it there. Eric, thank you. You guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you know any of the kryptonite foods that you have consumed in the past, put it in the comments. I'm also curious about that. I want to know the different diets and nutrition plans you've done and the kryptonite foods that you know are kryptonite foods for you. Some of my kryptonite foods are like oatmeal cookies. So good. Moose Track ice cream. All kinds of breads. All kinds of bread. Totally addicted to it. Oh, here's an extra nugget. Sugar. 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So it's like, well, I want to eat the bread. Of course you do. You're addicted to it.
Yeah.
I want to eat the cereal. Of course you do. I want the candy bar. I know you do. So somebody asked me that the other day. They're like, do you want a bagel? Yes, I want a bagel. And today, I'm saying no. Love you guys. Eric, thank you.
Yes, sir.
See you
Thank
in the homework.